Hi everyone, I'm Reagan Black. I'm back with more inspiration for your writing journey, and Bandit is here with me. His nose might pop into the screen. Today I want to springboard from a quote by Ernest Hemingway, a famous quote, "Write drunk, edit sober." And I think, rather than getting into Hemingway's particular habits of creativity, if we think about this in how we approach our own writing lives, writing is a twofold process. First, we write, we craft, we work in the draft, we get that creative energy, we follow that innate story idea or message that we need to deliver, right? First is the writing, and then is the editing, the revising part, the part that makes our writing presentable for our audience. So if we use this quote and apply it to our writing life in that light, we write drunk and edit sober. In the creative process, the drafting, we need to be free of inhibitions. We need to let go and just let the words hit the page as they will. We need to write without doubt or worry or concern. We need to be bold in that phase. And then when we've written our draft, we need to go in and we need to revise it with the intent of making it presentable for our audience. And that takes a ruthless sobriety. Okay, so you write first and then you edit sober. And in that editing phase is when you can't fall in love with every word. In that editing phase is where you must have that ruthlessness to know that just because it's the perfect sentence, if the perfect sentence doesn't move your message along, it doesn't move your story forward, then it has to go. And so I think that's how we apply this quote to a healthy writing habit, is to write without inhibition and revise with a ruthless sobriety, with an objectiveness that we're making this presentable for our audience. So it's a great experience for them. And a lot of people will then ask, well, how do I do that? How do I write without inhibition? It sounds easy. It sounds like it should be what we do, but it's difficult to let go. It's difficult to write without doubt or insecurity creeping in. That too is part of the process, and you have to learn your way through. But to give you a couple tips, there are great options with your timers. You set a timer for 10, 15, 20 minutes and write as much as you can. Okay? And a lot of times we use that exercise for productivity, but it's also good for our creative side. If we know we have to write as much as we can in this time period, we don't let inhibitions or doubts creep in. We keep writing. Another tip I learned also is if you've written a sentence and you've read it and you don't like it, and you think, oh, I'll hit backspace or I'll hit delete. No, keep going. If you think, oh, this sentence would be better if, then write the sentence again the way you think it would be better and keep moving on. Okay? So don't worry about backspace or delete, but just to keep moving on. Now, for people who write by pen and paper, a lot of times this is easier because they'll just, they may strike through or just keep going. So just think about it in that mindset, okay? So you've got your timers. Another way to release your inhibitions, just to let go. That timer is a great thing, but it's also to write more. I think it's really important. The more you write in that creative, uninhibited space, the more you realize no one's jumping out of the shadows to tell you you did it wrong, okay? It's just you and the words, and that's a safe place for you to be, okay? So the more you write, the more you understand that creative, uninhibited space is safe, all right? And also, I've got my little notes here, and my next tip is for you to make notes. If you find that you're writing in that draft and in a space that should be free of any distraction, that should just be flowing and not worried about what ifs, and doubts start to creep in, take a piece of scratch paper or open a different document and put those doubts there. Make notes to yourself. If you think, oh, I think I've repeated this, or oh, this vocabulary is overused, or whatever it is, make yourself a note and then go back to your document, keep writing, okay? And you push those distractions over there, and that way you can trust what you're doing in the writing because you know when it's time to edit sober, you have your notes to turn to, okay? So those are my tips for how to write and just leave that creative space wide open and write without filters, all right? Write more. Sometimes that can be using a timer or however it is, but the more you write, the more you realize the police won't pop out. And also make yourself some notes, okay? And my next tip is, it's probably tip number 3, who knows, but to finish. Write uninhibited and write till you're done. Finish the project. You learn so much more going from once upon a time to the end, no matter what genre you're writing. You learn by completing the project. And when you get to the end, you'll have a really good idea of what you need to tweak and work on when you get to the editing phase. Okay, so finish the project, whatever it is. If it's an article or a book or an encyclopedia, I don't care what it is, finish. And then start editing. Okay, and so then when you go into the edit phase and you're editing sober, you can trust, you have your notes, and you can trust yourself to be ruthless and focused as you make that piece a wonderful experience for whoever your audience is. Okay? So I hope that helps. I really love looking at this quote this particular way. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you've got a different opinion on how to check out that quote or what it means to you. Again, the quote was to write drunk, edit sober, and I think it's really important that we write without inhibition and we edit ruthlessly to make it a wonderful piece for our readers. I hope that helps. You know, you can always reach out to me at reaganblack.com as well. There's lots of resources there for writers. I hope that really helps you along on your journey, and I'll be back again soon. In the meantime, write well and live the adventure.